so obvious, people had to go along who wouldn't turn and run as soon as the communists told them to clear off. The other parties, the center, German nationals and so on, were quite happy to see us beating up the communists. We did some of their work for them, which they could have done themselves. Not with bunch-up, but they could have cut the ground from under the communist feet by getting the unemployed off the streets, for example. But they were too grand for that. Certainly not the German nationalists, Hugenberg and the like, and the war veterans. Of course, they were too fancy to beat up the communists in the streets. They left that to us.
In January 1933, Hitler was legally elected Chancellor of Germany. Many Nazis were eager to do away with the despised Weimar Republic and wanted to set up a Nazi state immediately. But he first had to end the period of near anarchy which had overwhelmed Germany since 1918. 1 month after coming to power, Hitler introduced the Decree for the Protection of the People and State, which empowered the police to arrest all political opponents and keep them in protective custody for an indefinite period. 15,000 Nazi stormtroopers and SS men were sworn in as auxiliary policemen, given police powers and told to clear the streets of all communists and other political opponents. Prisons were soon filled to overflowing. Disused factories were turned into concentration camps, which were run in an arbitrary fashion by stormtroopers and SS men. One of the worst of these camps was Oranienburg, near Berlin.
And anyway, these things didn't get through to us. We knew well enough that these camps existed, detention camps or whatever they were called, and that political opponents were being incarcerated. Why was never quite clear to us. God knows the crimes themselves were not serious enough to remove a man from his house and home. But you thought to yourself, it's just a temporary thing. They'll just be put away in a camp for 3 or 4 weeks, and then they'll be let loose again. And it's been established that this man is just a harmless fellow, and so on. Not like Thelma, or people who were real agitators.
SS men had played a significant part in Hitler's seizure of power, but now there was little for them to do. The period of struggle was over, the dangers past, and many of the plumb positions in the Nazi hierarchy were being taken over by the opportunists and aristocrats, who saw in the SS the makings of an elite organization.
Wir bekamen damals die schwarze Uniform, die dann später...
We then got the black uniform, which later became the parade uniform. Black jacket with black cap. The insignia stay the same. And all of a sudden the SS was in, as one says nowadays.
By the summer of 1934, Hitler was not yet master in his own house. The machinery of the German state had still to come to terms with the Nazis, and within the Nazi party, a power struggle was taking place.
SA-Kameraden, Kameraden SS und Hitlerjugend. Eine große Zeit ist angebrochen. Und wir sind nur ihre lebenden Zeugen, sondern ihre Gestalter.
The real threat to Hitler came from the rivalry between Ernst Röhm's 4.5 million stormtroopers, Himmler's now 80,000-strong SS, and the 100,000-strong German army.